I want to come to Honorable Machabana now. Dr. Patrick talked about a united Africa. And as legislators, as politicians, as members of parliament, of course, there is this organ, the Pan-African Parliament, where some of these things, can be legislated for in what Honorable Zungula has talked about. The reparations agenda can be legalized, as a Pan-African agenda through a Pan-African Parliament. But perhaps you could shed some light to us. What is it that is missing in this equation that to give the Pan-African Parliament the power that it so deserves to help contribute to this next 10 years that Patrick has talked about in his submission?
Thank you very much, Jason. Can you allow me just to take 2 minutes of your time?
Sure.
Before I go straight to respond to what you asked me to do. Just to say, as Africans, we must not just talk, but we must also act. I come from a country called Lesotho. Probably some of you may not know. President Trump said it's a country that nobody has ever heard about when he started this business of tariffs. But I want to say we must correct some of these, how can I describe?
Narratives.
I mean, it's the narratives and it's the perceptions that as Africans, we don't even care about ourselves. So how do we expect other people to care about us? Lesotho is a landlocked country. Historically, it was not landlocked. So when you talk about reparative justice, should we not look amongst ourselves as African countries and start there? We are completely landlocked by South Africa. So I'm challenging all of us here as Africans and African countries. Nobody will hear us if we just talk to other people, but we are not talking to ourselves. They will listen to us, they will hear us, as long as they've seen us acting and try to correct the injustices that happened amongst ourselves as Africans. I've given an example of Lesotho as one good example, where around 80% of the country that was Lesotho then is now South Africa. So I believe we need to engage further, and when we talk about reparative justice, we should look amongst ourselves, and we should start in the African continent and try to come up with strategies of how we repair the injustices that happened between us as neighbors. I hope the South Africans that are here, I hope the good doctor will take the message. I was listening to my sister there who said, you cannot sell tomatoes across the border because there will always be, this one you don't do, this one you can't do, this one is not like yours. I don't understand why we still have visas in Africa. And then we are saying that other people should treat us differently. But we are not treating ourselves as the same. So we are still different. How will they look at us? They will look at us as just people, different people, who will never unite for a good cause. So I just wanted to give this example so that we really be true to ourselves. When I now move on to what you wanted me to talk about, Jason, which is the role of members of parliament on this debate. We do have the Pan-African Parliament and many other forums, But as we know, those forums are not legislative in nature like the African Union. There are sort of movements, but very powerful movements, and can bring change to what we want to do. Members of Parliament, I'll just talk about five issues that I picked up that members of Parliament can do to make sure that this debate continues, and it just doesn't end as a debate, but it's also turned into action. Members of Parliament can set an agenda, and their role is advocacy mainly. As we know that we represent people and we are elected representatives of the people. So in every opportunity that we get to represent our people, we must do so. In the Pan-African Parliament and in most of our national parliaments, we have committees. Some are called portfolio committees, some are sessional committees, but we do have parliamentary committees. But as you look at, number one, the Pan-African Parliament, there is no one committee that deals with reparation and reparative justice. And that trickles down to our national parliaments, parliamentary committees. So if that agenda is not set at the Pan-African Parliament, definitely it will not go to our regional parliament forums and not to our national parliament forums. So I believe that we have to push for the establishment of a dedicated committee at the Pan-African Parliament and trickle it down to the national parliaments to really lead this agenda on reparations and reparative justice. And as a result of that, you find that we do not have legislation and in different countries about how to deal with reparations, how to deal with reparative justice. Even in Lesotho, as I've given you an example of Lesotho, we still don't have a dedicated parliamentary committee that deals with this issue of reparation or reparative justice. We've had a very sad incident where one member of parliament who felt like, I'm taking this onto myself and fighting for Discourse for Lesotho to get her land back. So unfortunately, this MP ended up in prison. As I'm talking to you now, the MP is in prison because of that cause that he decided to take alone. So if as members of parliament, we speak in one voice and understand what we should be fighting for, the fight will not be for one MP, and the fight will be beneficial to the people that we are representing. For example, we may encourage to have national reparation commissions in each country, and then they can meet regionally, and then they can meet at the level of the continent, and then they can use the Pan-African Parliament as a forum to engage. But at the present, we do not have that. In some countries, members of parliament really do not have a good understanding of what reparation and reparative justice is. As a result, you cannot even hear a member of parliament talking to the public about reparation or reparative justice. So I believe that as members of parliament, we should facilitate more engagements at the public level, more consultations, to make sure that our African people understand why this topic is very, very important. We, as I alluded to the fact in the morning when I was giving the support for Aphrodite from the chairperson of the SADCOPAC. As members of parliament, even if we were to get what we wanted, we still need to provide oversight. If we get the reparation and if we get the reparations, maybe in the form of financial assistance, somebody has to provide oversight to who it goes to and to what it does when it gets there. Somebody has to be accountable, and accountability, the responsibility to provide and to make sure that people are accountable currently rests with the members of parliament. So that is the role that members of parliament can play. But mainly, if at the Pan-African Parliament, there can be a decision or to implement or to talk about the reparative justice, then somebody has to follow up. Somebody has to take those decision makers, members of parliament at that level, to make sure that they are accountable and make sure they implement their decisions. So currently, the situation does not allow anyone to hold anybody accountable. If we do that, even at the African Union level, we can be able to ask our leaders, to ask our presidents, our prime ministers, how far have you gone about the issue on reparative justice? But currently, because we don't talk about it in any other forum, we tend to forget it. I will not be talking a lot because a lot has been said, but all I can say is probably if we start at the Pan-African Parliament with a committee that will deal specifically with this one issue. I've tried to look at all the committees and the responsibilities and the activities of the committees in the Pan-African Parliament. None of them deals with this issue. So it means as members of parliament, we may have ignored this issue, probably because we don't talk about it a lot. We have left it in the hands of Aphrodite and the partners and other organizations, but we have not taken it up as a responsibility of members of parliament, except for the young members of parliament. I see they are doing a lot, and as adults now we have to learn from the young ones. It's in order. So I believe that at that level we should really introduce this topic and make sure that there's a dedicated committee at the PAP, and then it will trickle down to our national parliaments, where we will now deal with legislation and other institutions that can lead to us really realizing this dream that it comes true. It's not just a debate in a conference and ends there, but I think that if we do that, we can take it further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Machabana. And I guess that's a challenge that has been put to this AFCON. Two big things. One is, the fact that the issue of reparations and reparative justice are not being discussed at national parliaments. So it's no wonder some of these things seem to pass, over us, around us, through us, and we continue to operate in a system that's perpetuating these inequalities, what Professor Hickel said this morning, the potential erosion of memory of how dangerous of the things that have happened in the past. But the second one is to ensure and find a mechanism, and maybe Patrick, throughout the week you can help us figure this out. How do we get a process to empower the Pan-African Parliament on two things? One, can it be given that full-blown recognition as a Pan-African Parliament of the African Union? And the second one, how do we get this committee within the Pan-African Parliament on reparations?